Check 1, 2.
Hello, everyone.
WTGZ, Union Springs, Montgomery, and Auburn, and AM 620 WTRP, LaGrange. The opening segment of Sports Call is brought to you by JD's Tire and Auto. When looking for service, selection, quality, and value, no one does it better than JD's Tire and Auto in Alexander City, offering any brand of tire you need with professional installation and fast turnaround. JD's Tire and Auto, the total package for all your vehicle needs.
You better buckle your seatbelts because it's going to be a show to watch.
From Tiger Communications.
Jackson, touchdown!
For 20 years, East Alabama's sports talk leader.
Swing and drive! Nelson right!
Sports Call.
Oh, what a dunk!
Call in now at 887-3401 locally.
Right through, he got it!
Or 1-888-9-TIGER-9 toll free.
Struck him out!
And now, coming to you live from the loveliest village on the plains. Sports Call.
Hello again, everyone, and good Tuesday afternoon. Welcome into what promises to be an eventful sports call on this Tuesday afternoon. I am Andy Graham alongside Randy Lee, and we'll be with you until 6 o'clock, taking your phone calls and discussing everything going on in the world of sports, certainly concentrating on the Auburn Tigers today. We appreciate so much all of you out there joining us, whether that be on 93.9 The Tiger or sportscallauburn.com. We appreciate so much you joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love for you to be a part of the program. If you'd like to vent or if you'd like to get involved with our question of the day, answer a trivia, whatever it might be, give us a prediction, we'd love to hear from you. 1-888-9-TIGER-9 toll free or locally at 334-887-3401 on the Auburn Opelika Tourism Hotline. Again, it should be an eventful show today. Of course, redshirt freshman Sean White has been named the starting quarterback at Auburn versus Mississippi State this Saturday. This on the heels of yet another very disappointing performance by the Auburn Tigers as they fall 45-21 to LSU. It's kind of difficult to overestimate how important Saturday's game is against Mississippi State as far as the outlook for the rest of the 2015 season. Alabama falls to Ole Miss 43-37. We'll take a look at the rest of the games in the SEC. We'll give our SEC power rankings in the second hour. Talk a little bit about how the shakeup in the SEC, what it looks like from top to bottom. Now, of course, we'll take your predictions. Auburn, they invite Mississippi State into Jordan-Hare Stadium this weekend. Peyton Barber rushing yards will be the tiebreaker. And William was the winner last week. William, if you'd like to give us a call, just chat with our producer and give me your mailing address. We'll send you a prize pack, Sportscall prize pack. So William was the winner last week of the prediction. Our question of the day today, is Gus Malzahn making the right move starting Sean White this Saturday? We'll throw a trivia question out there in the next segment, but of course, we'll start out. The top story of the day, no doubt, the Braves 60-91. Will they actually lose 100 games this year? I think everybody's really, concerned about that. You wanted to start with the Auburn story. I'm sorry.
I'm not even sure I'm going to get anything in today, and that's fine. Phone calls come first, and we'd love to hear from you. Got a couple of great guests coming up as well, as we'll have Brian Matthews on, as well as Bart Edens will be on with us in the second hour of the program, maybe to talk about past defenses at Auburn at least. Let's talk about something that resembles a defense at Auburn throughout this program, and maybe we can find one on the Plains. Let's go back to the phone lines. Todd, you're on Sports Call.
Good afternoon, fellas.
Good afternoon to you, Todd.
I'd first like to start off with my answer to the question, is Gus Malzahn making the right choice? And at first, the answer would probably shock you that my first reaction was no. And here's why, because I think we need to scrap the whole Tony Franklin system we're running right now, that it looks like that meerkat slow down, look at the sidelines and everybody look at each other before we run a play system, and go back to running the power, option, zone read, spread that we've had for 2 years utilizing Jason Smith. But then as I've read more about what's going on, I realized that they're going to start working him in at quarterback too, and that's just not probably an overnight process. And I think we're going to be slowly working our way back to that effective offense. What do you think?
Todd, I totally agree. When I watch the offense play, that's the first thing that comes to mind. What in the world? What is going on with the pace? What's going on with the up-tempo pace that we have grown to love? I mean, I'm sitting in the stands most time, and I say this on the program a lot, just going, go, 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 go. I don't care if they know where it is. And we have totally gotten away from that, Andy, and I think that's part of the issue, and I agree with you, Todd.
Well, I'll tell you this. If I'm hallucinating, I don't think I am. I thought that we ran Tony Franklin out of there in 2008 with books up underneath his chin, okay? And so then, they get to the line, they run up there real quick, and then everybody's staring over there at the sidelines, and I'm thinking to myself, where have I seen this before? Where have I seen this colossal failure before? I can't remember because I blocked it out of my brain, the nightmare of hurry up and slow down offenses. And I call our current offense right now, currently this offense in my book is the artist formerly known as Auburn Fast.
It seems to me, Auburn has got to get in a rhythm before they go fast. That's always been Gus Malzahn. You get that initial first down, and then they start to go downhill, and it just seems like we've never been in rhythm all year. And the more things have gotten out of sync, that's when, we slow down even more because, we want to make sure we have the right play. We can't afford to have, a big loss here, which seems to be happening anyway. But I understand Gus Malzahn's offense. It just doesn't. I think we started out with the idea that Jeremy's strength was throwing the football, and we came in kind of tailoring our offense. We're going to move away a little bit from the read option, but we're still going to use it. But we're going to throw the ball. But that hasn't worked, and I don't think anybody was prepared for that. And certainly Gus Malzahn and Jeremy Johnson being the top two.
Yeah, I think that Sean White can probably run a little bit better than what people are giving him credit for. Just because he is white and not Nick Marshall doesn't mean he can't move the ball effectively on his own read. But my gosh, man, where's the motion been? Where is the tight end? Why is there no tight end in our offense? That's ridiculous. I don't care what offense you're running, you're going to have to incorporate a tight end every once in a while because the tight end is always open, folks. That goes back to little leagues. You know, and let's not, I can't even get into the defense today. I hate to say it. I think it's a little too late for this week. I've got Auburn going down 31-20, and Peyton Barber will have 72 rushing yards. Y'all have a good day. I hope I'm wrong, War Eagle.
War Eagle to you, Todd, and he's dead on where I was. Unfortunately, I had 31-21, right around 85. I'll go ahead and throw it out there because I do have at least a semblance of hope. And I feel sorry. Let me throw it out there first. I feel bad for Jeremy Johnson. I'm sorry Auburn fans call in and say, why do you feel bad? I just do. He's a young guy, and he's got the yips. And if you've been around athletics enough, you'll be around somebody that will get the yips. And probably you have had them unless you're a real strong-minded human, then you've probably had them at one time or another. And it's the worst thing to go through, and to do it on a national stage like Jeremy's doing. And I'm again, on the offensive side with Gus Malzahn, who in the world knew this was coming? None of us did. Let me tell you what I had a pretty good idea was coming, was that defense. And, buddy, it's still there. And it still smells as bad as it has since 2008. And I don't know when that's going to change. And there's a lot of pieces out there that continue to be strewn out on the field that aren't getting a whole lot better. I'm not going to throw names out there for college. Boy, it's rough. Let's go back to the phone lines. Johnny, you're on Sportscall. Johnny, you there with us?
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Hey, good to hear from you, Johnny.
Hey, I'm glad to see them make a change today. I hope it works. Maybe it'll if nothing else, it'll get Johnson get his head on straight, give him time to watch and maybe see what's happening on the field. But the defense, guys, you guys have hit on that. It is amazing. I went back, you can, with the way the games are played now, you can watch them over and over, and not that you want to, but the defensive line is coming off the ball, and they're standing straight up. And it doesn't take a big offensive lineman if you stand up to push you out of the way. And if you go back and look, you can go any of these sites and watch Brian Coward's film. In high school, he was just so dominant. He's the number one player in America, and he never played like that. He come off the line. He was low. He was beating offensive linemen. He could beat double teams because he come off low. He kept his hips down. And I watched him Saturday over and over just come off the line and come up above the waist. And it doesn't take any SEC tackle is going to just push him out of the way, and that's what's happening. It seems to me it's fundamentally coaching. I'm basically with Shadow here. This defensive line coach is horrible. The linebackers do not know any assignments. They do not know how. The linebackers go up and try to address blockers instead of their job is to tackle. It is just so I've never seen a fundamentally wrong defense. And when you go back and watch the replays, and a lot of these defensive linemen these are highly talented guys, and they didn't play like this before they come to Auburn. It's almost like they're being taught this. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Johnny. And, hey, let me throw this out there. A lot of phone calls are coming through. Let's get your points out, and Johnny did a great job right there. And we're going to go to the next because we want everybody to be able to get their opinion in. A lot of times we welcome the phone call, and if you want to talk the whole segment, we'll sit there and just communicate with you. But today, let's get the points and get around to the question of the day. Great phone call right there, Johnny. Back to the phone lines. Chris, you're on Sports Call.
Hey, fellas, how's it going?
Good. Good to hear from you, Chris.
I'm pretty good. I don't like to rant, but today I am ranting. Why in the world wasn't he given the shot in LSU before we throw him on to Jordan Hare 4 quarters? That's what kills me. Is this decision coming from someone other than the coaching staff, or?
I can give you my opinion. When I look at it, Chris, maybe he got 25% of the snaps, 10, 15% of the snaps last week, and you want to throw a freshman that really hasn't had any true time out there on the field in a hostile environment when we're already whooped. And we were whooped by the end of the first half. It was a done deal. That to me
on
is
both sides of the ball.
Well, the defense is a lot worse to me.
Either way.
I agree with you, Chris.
But we could have gave him that experience in a truly hostile environment at Tiger Stadium instead of. To me, it's just like they're setting him up to lose.
Well, great phone call, Chris. We appreciate it. Andy, I I kind of agree with the move, though. Don't throw them in there in the second half when you're down 24-0 and they're pulling out their first. If they need to put the starters back in there, I don't think any of us would have questioned Leonard Fournette would have gone for 350 Saturday if they'd given them football enough. So, don't kill his mojo in that environment, in my opinion.
Yeah, when that last pass Jeremy threw the first half, which was right to the LSU defender in double coverage trying to throw it to Duke Williams, I looked at my brother-in-law and I just said, you got to sit him down. I said, Deshaun White should start the second half. I mean, it was just yet another proof that he's got tunnel vision. He cannot see the field. He cannot read the defense to know where to throw the ball. And but you come out, and I don't know if Gus, had the situation, and I think he'd already made up his mind. Obviously, he said it over and over. Jeremy Johnson is our quarterback, and they come out in the second half, and you say, well, we're going to, kind of change things up a little bit. We're going to try some different things. And Jeremy runs for 60 yards for a touchdown. I mean, that kind of, leads you to believe, well, I don't know what happened this week in practice, but after film study, it looks like Gus said, look, we cannot win with him playing this way. We got to make at least a change to try to shake things up, and I think it's probably the right choice.
I thought the writing was on the wall in the post-game interview, though. He doesn't say, but you could just see the disgust on Coach Malzahn's face. And with Jeremy, he was asked, have you been told that you're going to lose your starting job? He said, no, I haven't been told that. If you do lose your starting job, is it going to bother you? No, it's not going to bother me. It's almost like he conceded to me, both of them, when I left Saturday thinking that. Back to the phone lines. Got a lot of phone calls coming through. James, you're on Sportscall.
Hey, guys, how you doing? I'm going to be brief and quick. Like I told you, Gus Malzahn don't realize what got him where he is, and that's the zone read concept for the running quarterback. He's not going to be able to run this offense, and I don't care if he put Sean White, Barry White, or anybody else. If you don't get a quarterback to run the ball, he saw a little bit of that with Jeremy Saturday. Why can't he understand? It's not Jeremy, man. If y'all look at the passing route, the routes are predetermined that he goes there. Now, I granted, he's throwing to guys that triple cover, but Gus Malzahn offense is predicated on throwing to this guy. He called a play, and he said, this should be open. It's not open. These guys don't have no passing route. Look at the offense. They have no route. And what we done did is, we done bought in too soon after 1 year, paying this man all this money, and now we got fool's goals on our hands. And the problem is you can tell the man is lost because why wouldn't you name Peyton Barber your starting running back after what he's done? What is it you trying to prove? And but anyway, it is a travesty, and tell Will Muschamp, sometimes you have to shoot the gaps. You can't just line up and take on block. Thank you.
James, great phone call. I was expecting James today, to say the least, Andy.
Up against a break here, but we're just getting started on the Tuesday Sports Call. If you want to call in and vent, whatever you want to do, give us a call. We'd love for you to be a part of the program. My question of the day, is Gus Malzahn making the right move, starting Sean White against Mississippi State on Saturday? A trivia question when we come back. More Sports Call presented by Home Place Mortgage right after this. Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Call on this Tuesday afternoon. Andy and Randy here with you until 6 o'clock, taking your phone calls 1-888-9-TIGER-9 toll-free or locally at 334-887-3401 on the Auburn Opelika Tourism Hotline. Sports Call today brought to you by Home Place Mortgage. Home Place Mortgage of Auburn and Lake Martin, the region's best mortgage professionals and rates for all new home or refinancing mortgage services. Come to the right place. Home Place Mortgage of Auburn and Lake Martin. Be sure to visit them at homeplacemtg.com. Our question of the day, is Gus Malzahn making the right move starting Sean White on Saturday? We're taking your predictions as well. Mississippi State at Auburn. Peyton Barber, rushing yards, will be the tiebreaker. Go ahead and throw a trivia out there. When's the last time Auburn and Alabama lost their conference opener in the same season? You got to go back a ways. I'll give you a hint there. When's the last time Auburn and Alabama lost their conference opener in the same season?
I think you got to change. You got to change your verbiage.
This does not include any forfeitures on Alabama's part. They had to forfeit, I think, several games, 2005, 6, and 7. So those forfeitures don't really apply here.
Let me throw it. When is the last time Auburn and Alabama didn't win?
No. We're going with lost.
Okay.
Lost their conference opener. There's two different questions.
888-9-TIGER-9, 334-887-3401. Back to the phone lines. Anthony, you're on Sports Call.
Hey, gentlemen, how y'all doing?
Good to hear from you, Anthony.
You know, I said this a few times before on the show that, you know, sometimes when you're not really sure about a quarterback, when you're in practice, spring practice and everything, you need to go ahead and take the non-contact jerseys off of him and find out what you really got. It's best to have a player injured and lose him for the season than to get on TV and find out you don't have anybody and then you got the rest of the season to play. But I'm going to tell you something. I don't think this is Gus Malzahn's decision. I'm going to tell you why I say that. After the Jack State game, if I'm not mistaken, he was asked, is it time to change quarterback? He said no, because this guy, Johnson, gives us our best opportunity to win. So if he tell you that, he don't have nobody else that can win. But I guess the powers that be or whoever in charge or who calling the shot have made that call.
I don't believe that. I mean, I totally believe. No, from what I saw Saturday, because I felt the same way. When I watched second half of Jacksonville State, that winning drive and that touchdown pass in the corner, and knowing and seeing Jeremy over the years at Auburn in spot duty, there's a lot of confidence with him. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe he can turn the corner. But the first half of LSU, all confidence I had left. And it was not necessarily just the way he was playing, it's the way he's handling himself on the sideline. Just watching his facial expression. Looked like he had really lost all the confidence that he'd had in himself. So that was my opinion, Anthony.
Well, you know, I saw that too on the sideline, and it looks like he don't have more confidence. Look like he just, somewhere out in left field somewhere. And a lot of that is probably the coaching staff's fault. And I think all the pressure and the media attention, Heisman Trophy candidate, I don't see how in the world anybody could have thought that man was a Heisman Trophy candidate based on half a play with Arkansas. And I think, did he make a start with Western Carolina?
He did, yeah, his freshman year.
How in the world anybody could have come up with that based on that limited play time? I just don't understand that. That don't make any sense.
I guess you just look and you see the skill levels there, the arm talent in those two games, and what you're hearing from the coaching staff. Look, if we do say one bad thing, and it's not a bad thing towards Gus Malzahn, but he led us to believe that Jeremy Johnson's everything he ever wanted in a quarterback, and he led it into that, and now it hasn't proven that way, and maybe that was to boost his confidence. You never know what's going on in the background, but just going off what he was saying, I think that's where a lot of us are coming from, Anthony.
Well, you know, maybe he is everything there is he's wanting a quarterback. But, you know, like I was telling the guy last night at work, sometimes you can have a player that may be very well the best player in the country, but he's just not ready yet. He might need some more seasoning. How much time he got left? 2 more years of eligibility?
I think this year and next. This is his true junior year, so yes.
Okay, next year we'll wrap it up then.
Correct. Anthony,
oh, Lord.
Great phone call, buddy. We appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Let's go back. Thank you. Got a lot of phone calls coming through. 888-9-TIGER-9, 334-887-3401. Drew, you're on Sports Call.
Hey, guys. How we doing?
Good. How about you, Drew?
Good. I think Gus made the right call. I mean, honestly, when I saw it came through on my phone, I kind of forgot about LSU for a second. I don't know about y'all, but I think it's time to do something. I agree with him not playing Sean White at LSU. I think, our fans would be very welcome with Sean White when he comes out on that field Saturday against Mississippi State. And I don't know if y'all heard about Trenton Dilfer's comments on the guy, but, he seems pretty high on him. What do y'all think about that?
I did hear his comments, and did you hear him, Andy?
I did. I remember when he said them. He was the MVP at that Elite 11 camp. There was a lot of really good quarterbacks at that camp. He was the MVP of the Under Armour game, with all the high school all-stars. He threw for a ton of yards in high school. His accuracy is supposed to be his biggest high point. So, that seems to be Jeremy's low point at the moment. Throwing, he's very accurate throwing to the other team. But if Sean White can be accurate and can run this offense, which again, Gus Malzahn says he's very confident in him, I think he deserves a shot.
Yeah, I think it's hard to get your hopes up because they've kind of put that seed in your mind that JJ's just been on a different level, and Sean just kind of hasn't been performing as good as him. So I don't want to get my hopes up too high, but Sean White's had a bunch of, positive remarks about him, and I think he was with Trent for a week in that camp, and if you look at what he says about the kid, you're wondering why he didn't start earlier. But I just kind of wanted to throw a prediction out there. I think Sean has a great game. I don't think it's good enough to win. I think Dak, you'll see him carry the ball probably 15 times for 110 yards. So I'm going to say 35-24 Mississippi State, and Peyton Barber with 95 rushing yards.
Drew, we appreciate the phone call this afternoon.
Yes, sir. I'll take care.
Thanks so much. To go back to the comments that Dilfer made, now we don't want to throw a big degree of interest on a kid that hadn't been on the field yet, but Dilfer said that he reminds him of Drew Brees throwing the ball, except he's got a bigger arm than Drew Brees. And if there's an SEC player currently that he would remind you of, it's Kyle Allen, who's playing at Texas A&M. That's pretty big compliments coming from Trent Dilfer.
No doubt about it. And people say, well, if he's that good, why wasn't he starting all along? Look, Jeremy Johnson been in this system for 2 years. He's a junior. Sean White's a redshirt freshman. That's just the way you can't simulate if a guy is great in practice. So obviously, Jeremy Johnson looked, I think, tremendous in practice. I think he looked good in the A-Day game. But when it got live, when really, the grenade started falling, then he just has not been able to get it done. So, does Sean White, can he go out and succeed? I think he can, but will he? I don't know. Is this the right decision? I think we'll know Saturday night after the game. But even if Sean White goes out and scores 30 points and leads this offense, is that going to be enough? We can't stop anybody at this point. LSU ran for 411 yards.
I'm going to say something I've said a lot. Carl Lawson, I feel for Carl Lawson. I hate it.
Terrible.
It's terrible, but it's a huge but here. Brett Pritchard and I had this conversation at length today. If he's a two-time All-American coming back, if Nick Fairley came back again and we lost him, buddy, it would be a loss. It would be a huge one. I'm all for Carl Lawson. I hope he is the best thing that we've ever had on the defensive line. So don't mix my words here. But he's got 24 tackles.
We're losing something we've never had.
He's got 24 tackles at Auburn. He had 20 as a freshman. He had 4, I think, there in the first game, in the first 20 plays. Now, yeah, you see all, but you still to fall back on that excuse is not good. That just gives you another excuse, and the last thing we need defensively is more excuses.
No, absolutely. It was we haven't even begun, and I think people are avoiding that topic for a reason, and rightly so. It's big news, and that we decided to focus more on Sean White today. Is that the right decision? And again, I'm not sure any of us know. I'm not sure Gus really had a choice because of the way things have gone. So, we'd love to hear from you. 1-888-9-TIGER-9 toll free locally at 334-887-3401 on the AO Tourism Hotline. Hopefully when we come back, we'll be joined by Brian Matthews. We'll chat with him for a few minutes, and we'll take your phone calls as well after that. 1-888-9-TIGER-9 toll free locally at 334-887-3401. More Sportscall presented by Lee Marketing Group is on the way.
Fairy Tale Journeys is an authorized Disney vacation planner which specializes in booking your Disney moment. Fairy Tale Journeys services are free and include more than 200 home-based agents to help make your Disney dreams come true, from lodging and fast passes to magic bands and other Disney experiences. Call Fairy Tale Journeys today and start making your Disney dream come true. 256-825-2668.
Ever envisioned watching your favorite team score a touchdown from the comfort of your dream home? I'm Angela Van Houten with Century 21 Lake Area Realty. I want to help you find the home that's perfect for your lifestyle. Whether it's a lake home with a perfect deck or a home in the country with acres of land, you aren't buying just a home. You're buying a lifestyle. Call or text me today, 256-596-0566. Visit my website, avhlakemartin.com. Angela Van Houten, helping families like yours make memories of a lifetime.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Call on this Tuesday afternoon. Sports Call today brought to you by Lee Marketing Group. From logo design and branding to ad placement, LMG can handle it all for ease of time, cutting-edge, results-driven marketing campaigns. Thank Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution. Be sure to check them out at leemarketing.net. We're going to pick up your phone calls in the next segment, but right now we're going to go to the AO Tourism Hotline and welcome in our good friend Brian Matthews from AuburnSports.com. Brian, how's your week going?
It's going pretty good, man. How are you guys doing?
We're doing pretty well. Let's just kind of jump right into this. Of course, the big news today, Sean White will start against Mississippi State this Saturday. Our question of the day today on Sports Call was, is Gus Malzahn making the right move starting Sean White this Saturday?
Absolutely. I felt like he needed to do this a little bit sooner, but it is definitely the right move to do this now. Jeremy Johnson, for whatever reasons, has just struggled to be in the spotlight, to be that number one guy, to be the starter. He's had some confidence issues, some anxiety issues, whatever they are. And this offense can't go without a quarterback. They can't get it done. And now Sean White's going to get his chance. And I think Gus did the right thing, making this move and going ahead and announcing this move. I thought it was really important that he did that. I think this changes the whole outlook on the Auburn football team leading up to the Mississippi State game. I think this makes fans more interested, more hopeful, more into this game. I'm now expecting an electric crowd at Jordan-Hare Stadium, Saturday night for the SEC home opener. If he hadn't made this move or he hadn't announced this move and played his little secretive games he likes to play sometimes, I think you would have seen a different type of atmosphere at Jordan-Hare.
Yeah, there's always going to be questions. Was it too soon? Is it too late? Do you think it was a mistake not playing White in the second half against LSU?
I would have played him, but, there's degrees of mistakes. I don't think it was a huge mistake or, it was the worst thing ever. But, yeah, I would have given him some experience. I think that would have been good to get his feet wet and, not make his first college game, the first snap of a really important SEC matchup against a Mississippi State team, which has a defense coordinator, Manny Diaz, who does a lot of unconventional things, likes to dial up different blitzes and different ways to confuse quarterbacks. So it's going to be a really tough first matchup for Sean White.
Well, Jeremy Johnson, obviously, people are bringing into question now Gus Malzahn's, ability to evaluate a quarterback. How can he be so wrong about Jeremy Johnson? But pretty much everybody in the country was wrong about Jeremy Johnson, at least up to this point. So I'm not sure how much you can factor into that. But just as your perception being around the team, certainly you're much closer to it than any of us are. Have you ever had a sense? I mean, it was Jeremy, always considered the undisputed leader of this team going forward. I mean, did you think the team is as surprised as everybody else going into this?
Well, I think two things. Being a leader never came natural to Jeremy. That's something they talked about and worked on and really pushed during the off season. I'm not sure how well he ever adapted to that. But there sure was a lot of talk that he had become a good leader and that the team was responding to him in a positive fashion. But, as far as Jeremy Johnson, not being able to handle the pressure or having the type of showing on the field that he did the first 3 games, totally came as a total surprise to me. And I think Gus Malzahn and Brett Pritchard were surprised, and I think his teammates were surprised at what happened. And sometimes at the quarterback position, it's the toughest position to play. It's the toughest position to evaluate. And sometimes you don't know, exactly what you got until you put that quarterback, under the lights, put them in the arena and, test them, against another defense, going full speed and mixing things up against them.
Well, Brian, if Sean White is able to give Auburn a spark, if he does get the offense going and is able to score some points this Saturday, certainly that would be a very good thing, and it would certainly bring some excitement back to the game. But after watching Auburn just get totally embarrassed against LSU, not be able to in any way slow down LSU's running game. I mean, when Leonard Fournette is averaging 12 yards a carry, it goes beyond just X's and O's. When you put 9 men in the box and you can't stop the run, I mean, were we that physically overmatched against LSU?
Oh, well, on the field they were, but I think there was more to it than that. I think that's what you're sort of alluding to. I agree. But I think going back to the quarterback situation, I think having a quarterback that plays well and an offense that starts scoring points, it has a positive effect on the entire team. So I think that would be good, not just for the offense, of course, but for the defense if Sean White can play well. But back to the defense, they don't have a lot of options as far as personnel. They can make some changes. You can give some younger linebackers, more snaps, more opportunities or something. But, up front on that defensive line, they have, they got what they got to work with. And they're going to be without Cole Lawson now for an extended period, which is not good. And they're just going to have to find a way to get some of those guys to play a little bit better and play with a little bit more intensity and get a little bit better play, from everybody, from all 11 on that team. There's not one guy on Auburn's defense that could have walked out of Tiger Stadium and be thinking that they played a great game. All 11 really failed in their jobs on Saturday.
Brian, I'm not sure you had to go any further there when I said about the Auburn defense. You said, I think everybody has that pretty much that same feeling right now. But you mentioned Carl Lawson. I mean, it just gut wrenching. This poor kid is having to go through this. But is there any kind of anything right now that has been said about the specificity of his injury? We know it's a hip injury, but we heard hip flexor. But I mean, are we talking about a broken bone at this point in the hip, or has anything been said?
Yeah, it's definitely more than hip flexor, and to me that leads to it being some sort of fracture of the joint there, or the hip bone, or something even more serious than that. And I don't know exactly what it is, but it's enough for Gus to say he's out of an extended period, and he's hopeful that he comes back for this season. So that's pretty serious. And you asked us if surgery was an option. He said he hoped it wasn't. I think it was something similar to that line was his response. So that's pretty serious. If he has surgery, I think that would probably knock him out for the season again. And Carl Lawson's not going to be the better person, a guy that's more dedicated to the game, a guy that wants to be great, a guy that works. He is the hardest working player on the team, and that's really not up to debate or argument. He is absolutely the leader of that defense. So that is a big blow, not having him for 2 straight years, or we don't know for sure if it's going to be 2 straight years, but at least right now, not having him for a 2nd straight year.
There was the dust up with Duke Williams, attitude problem maybe early, in preseason camp. Now he certainly does not look happy on the sideline, and with his production, you would certainly understand why. But I'm not sure anybody is really happy right now at Auburn. Do you get a sense about the attitude of the team right now? They are 2-1, but it's a pretty shaky 2-1.
No, it's very shaky, and we'll see how that attitude is this week. A different quarterback can change a lot of things, and can polish up some things maybe that aren't too good right now in other parts of that team. So, I think anytime a team plays as bad as Auburn's played, it's more than scheme and personnel and such. There's obviously some chemistry issues in there somewhere, although I can't tell you specifically what that is. But, if a team starts playing well, some of those chemistry issues, go away, and and then your team's got good chemistry. It's just, it's one of those things that can change throughout the season. And something like a quarterback change can provide that spark, that impetus to make that happen.
Well, Brian, we thank you so much for joining us today. Kind of give us a preview of what we can expect from auburnsports.com this week.
Well, thank you. And you can check out us right now for updates on Sean White and Carl Lawson from the Gus Malzahn's press conference today. And we're going to have even more on Sean White in the days coming up. And it's also a big recruiting weekend for Auburn. Auburn's going to bring in some football and basketball prospects and for official and unofficial visits this weekend. So it'll be a really big recruiting weekend, and it's really a key game for Auburn against State. If you look at it, they really need this win if they're going to have a chance to compete in the West at all.
No question about that, Brian. We thank you so much.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Be sure to go and check out auburnsports.com. Follow Brian on Twitter as well. They do an outstanding job covering Auburn Athletics. Up against a break here, but don't go anywhere. More Sportscall presented by Home Place Mortgage right after this. Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Sports Call on this Tuesday afternoon. Andy and Randy here with you until 6 o'clock, taking your phone calls at 1-888-9-TIGER-9, toll-free locally at 334-887-3401 on the Auburn Opelika Tourism Hotline. Just caught up with Brian Matthews from AuburnSports.com. Got his thoughts. He agrees. He says, Sean White, yes, it is the right move to start him on Saturday. He says maybe it's a little too late.
Boy, it's a good time to be in their business right now. I mean, can you imagine the message boards and all of the talk that's going on? I'm not one to jump on there too often, but when I do, it's usually at times like this. So both of the guys that work with us, Brian Matthews, Jason Caldwell, do a tremendous job. So we hope, like most of you Auburn fans out there, you don't pick one over the other. You know what you do? You go out there and you get subscriptions to all of them.
Absolutely.
To keep up. So let's go back to the phone lines. Luke, you're on Sports Call.
Hey, guys. How's it going this afternoon?
Good. Good to hear from you, Luke.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear.
That's where I am. I'm telling you, it's it's a really weird weekend, no doubt about it. I don't know the answer to the trivia question. I'm scared to even find out the answer. I don't want to know. Just let me get through this, because I'll tell you, I spent most of the day Saturday tailgating in Tuscaloosa watching the Auburn LSU game, and gosh, that was so bizarre. And then the Alabama game itself had so many bizarre moments. It's just incredible to think that here we are, not even in October yet. And I would say the odds of either Alabama or Auburn getting to the SEC championship game are pretty slim and none, considering who they lost to, the tiebreakers that would have to be into effect, and the other losses that they would have to have. And it's really sad to think that this could be only the second time since 2007 that neither Alabama nor Auburn has been in the SEC title game. And the other time was 2011. And at least on that time, Alabama had a vested interest in the game because they were still right in the hunt for a national championship, which they went on to win and play for. But this time, I don't know, man. I mean, we may be all scheduling beach trips in December.
Luke, we appreciate the phone call this afternoon. Look forward to having you on Sports Blitz tonight.
Hey, yeah, that's good. I figure that'll be a lot of fun, too. I want some more. Please, James, if you're listening, if you have any more Sean White, Barry White comparisons, I want to hear them.
I'm sure we'll hear back from him tonight, Luke. We appreciate it, buddy. Got a lot of phone calls coming through, and let's go back to the phone lines now. Curtis, you're on Sports Call.
Hey, guys, War Eagle.
War Eagle to you, Curtis.
Hey, I just want to say I do think it's the right time to put in Sean White. I think Gus made the right decision. One thing I'm looking really forward to is to see, of course, everybody wants to see how well Sean can pass the ball, but I want to see how well he can run the ball, because I think so many times in Gus's offense, the running game really opens up the passing game, and not just the running backs, but the quarterback being able to run. And, some people say that Sean White's not really that fast, but I don't believe you have to be extremely fast to be a good runner, because JJ has a good 40 time. I mean, we heard before the season he ran a 4.6, and he looked like Peyton Manning slow out there. That's the most uncoordinated 60-yard touchdown run I think I've ever seen. You look at Jameis Winston, he doesn't have a fast 40 time, but he's a really good scrambler and runner. And I don't know. I'm looking forward to Sean White, and I think hopefully he'll play with more tenacity and more grit than JJ. I think that's one of the biggest things that the team's been lacking.
I think the rest of the Auburn Nation feels the same as you, Curtis. We'll be behind him on Saturday, and hopefully we can get back things going Coach Malzahn's way with that offense. We appreciate the phone call this afternoon.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Back to the phone lines we go. Terry, you're on Sports Call.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you for taking my call. I'm just going to ask a question because, I don't know. But I'm just looking at what Auburn does. Back when they hired Coach Chiswick, he had a totally losing record. He came to Auburn. What was it, his first year, second year? He had great, great talent. I mean, my God, they didn't need any supervision. And he won a national championship. Next year, failed. Next year, worst season in Auburn's history. Now, Gus Malzahn was hired. He is not a proven head coach at a major school whatsoever. Well, he inherited the players from the worst team in Auburn's history, and it didn't take much to motivate them at all. And he won all these awards and everything else. The next year, he's 8-5, and Ellis Johnson, defensive coordinator, I'm gonna tell you, he got ran off from Alabama twice, and then he was hired from Southern Mississippi and didn't win a game, so he had to get rid of him. Then he goes out and recruits, Muschamp, and he just got fired at Florida as a head coach. And you got him tied in on a $1.6 million contract for 3 years. Now, do you see any resemblance in that? And I'll hang up and listen to you.
Thank you, Terry. You want to start?
Well, I appreciate the history lesson, but do I see a resemblance between Gene Chizik, his career path or arc, and Gus Malzahn's career arc? I mean, right now, it appears that it had to be. You have to go and let this season play out and see how it turns out. If it's another 2012, if they lose a team, if we end up being totally, uncompetitive with everybody on our schedule, we win 4 games, then yes, I see a definite resemblance to those seasons. If you're able to turn it around, if you're able to somehow recover from this, I think it speaks a lot about Gus Malzahn's ability to coach. So ask me that when this season's over.
I'm not off the Muschamp bus yet.
Oh, I'm driving the Muschamp bus.
You think it's more of a talent?
It's the players. You cannot tell me Will Muschamp's not a good defensive coordinator. And look, it's not Rodney Garner. It's that defensive line is being coached just like Will Muschamp wants it coached. He is a brilliant defensive coordinator. He's the best we've had since Will Muschamp was at Auburn. It's the players. It's the players. It's the players. I'll say it again.
Let's go back to the phone lines quickly. Got a couple more minutes on this segment. Stroud, you're on Sports Call.
No time to take a phone call. Fox Sports Reports coming up next. If you guys will hang on, we'll get you first up in the second hour of the show today. Randy and I'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Wetumpka, Sylacauga, and Dadeville. Bone and joint specialist, getting you back into the game of life.
You better buckle your seatbelts because it's going to be a show to watch.
From Tiger Communications.
Jackson, touchdown.
For 20 years, East Alabama's sports talk leader.
Swing and drive. Mountain right.
Sportscall.
Oh, what a dunk.
Call in now at 887-3401 locally.
Right through. He got it.
Or 1-888-9-TIGER-9 toll free.
Struck him out.
And now, coming to you live from the loveliest village on the plains. Sports Call.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the Tuesday edition of Sports Call. Andy Graham and Randy Lee here with you until 6 o'clock. Taking your phone calls at 1-888-9-TIGER-9 toll free or locally at 334-887-3401 on the Auburn Opelika Tourism Hotline. Sports Call brought to you by Home Place Mortgage and Lee Marketing Group. We appreciate so much all of our sponsors out there. Our question of the day today, is Gus Malzahn making the right move starting Sean White on Saturday? We're taking your predictions as well. Mississippi State at Auburn. Peyton Barber rushing yards will be the tiebreaker, and a trivia question still out there. When's the last time Auburn and Alabama lost their conference opener in the same season? We'd love to get your phone call, get your thoughts on anything. We've had some great calls so far today. Looking forward to another jam-packed hour.
Another part of the question, first off, the memo out there, if you're wondering, Andy Graham thinks it's the players that's the issue there, not the coaches. So that's his opinion. But back to the question of the day. A lot of questions coming through on social media saying, should Coach Malzahn have announced it today or just waited until Saturday and put Sean White out there then? So if you want to add that part to the question of the day, we'd love to hear from you. Stroud, you're on Sports Call.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. How are y'all today?
Good to hear from you, Stroud.
Yeah, good to hear from y'all too. Let's get a pick in. I'm going Mississippi State 28, Auburn 10, and Barber for 75 yards rushing.
I don't recall getting your pick last week. Did you call in one last week?
I did. It was
okay.
42 to 14 LSU.
I'm just making sure because I was going to blame it on you with the bad mojo.
No, I'm doing my part. Just not getting a whole lot of help on the other end of it. As far as the question of the day, I do think that Gus Malzahn's making the correct decision. I think he has to. That's a no-brainer. As bad as the offense is struggling, he's got to do that. Now, I'm going to just be transparent for a second. Just being completely honest, there's no way that I'm happy this weekend. If we lose, I'm obviously going to be unhappy. But let's say Sean White comes out and the offense looks fantastic and we're going fast like we like to see us go, and he throws for 400 yards and we come out and we look like gangbusters and we blow Mississippi State out of the stadium. Well, I'm unhappy. You know why? Because my question is, why in the world didn't we start him at the beginning of the season? How badly could this staff have poorly evaluated the starting quarterback position? And everybody else is going to be all giddy next Monday, but I think the question would need to be asked, how did we miss it this bad? I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that the problem with this football team is the quarterback. It is one of the problems. The biggest problem with this team is, one, lack of effort, and two, physicality. And that has shown itself the entire season so far, and you don't fix that by swapping quarterbacks out.
Stroud, you make good points. Let me start with the quarterback. Of course, we're not out there every day at practice, so we don't know. But it is a good question to say, how did you miss? All of us missed. I mean, any of us that saw him playing the last couple of years really were excited to see. You know, we were on this show. I'm the first one saying we're going to see numbers we've never seen passing with Duke Williams and Jeremy Johnson. It's just shocking to me that it's fallen off as bad as it has within 3 weeks. And I brought this up at the first segment of the program. You know, you take Gus Malzahn's side of the story. If he didn't see it, which I don't believe he did, and everything's between his ears, and he's struggling with confidence and he's struggling with the yips because some of these throws are just the yips. what do you do? You got to hope that he gets over them at some point, but after a while, you got to cut your losses, and I think that's what he did today.
Yes, I agree with that, and I'm not out there. I have no idea, but I was so confident that Jeremy Johnson was going to be so good. I didn't think we'd have him but for 1 year. I thought for sure he'd be a Heisman candidate this year. I really believe that at the beginning of the year. So I'm certainly not going to try to act as if, I'll say that I was just as fooled as anybody else was. I'm just a fan, though. But the question has to be asked, and hopefully that's the case. Maybe Sean White's the answer, and we come out and the offense looks differently, and maybe the team responds better to it. These are the kind of things I'm looking for on Saturday, though. If you remember when we would go fast, I can remember running back, hopping off the ground, throwing the ball to the ref, getting back on the line of scrimmage, and let's go again. Wide receivers doing the same thing. Everybody getting back to the line, and let's run a play. That's what has been so much fun to watch about the Gus Malzahn offense that we have just not seen this year. I hope that's what we get to see Saturday. And if we do, that crowd at night it'll be electric, and it'll be fun watching Auburn football again. And that's really what I hope we get to see. I really do. And I know everybody thinks that I'm probably the most negative Auburn fan, and I probably have been this year. But good gracious, how could you not? It's been awful. And hopefully get it turned around this week. But I'll listen to the comments. War Eagle.
Great call, Stroud. I'm with you. I mean, I've been disgusted. Most Auburn fans have.
I felt like I get beaten with a bag of potatoes after that game Saturday.
You want to turn it off. It just reeks of 11 and 12. 11, there were some games in 11 that were equally as bad as 12.
Oh, yeah. Well, I said this before the show. I don't mind getting beat. I don't mind Auburn losing. I don't like it, but I understand it. It's going to happen. But when you are just totally inept and totally, just have absolutely no anything to stop a run, semblance of being able to stop a run. When you put 8 men in the box, when you put 9 men in the box, and you cannot stop the run, that is just unacceptable.
Hard for me to go to this next call without taking my time here to go. That first play is the one that makes literally no sense to me. I mean, you, me, everybody in America knew exactly where it was going, exactly the holes it was going in. Between the tackles, I mean, you could pretty much, and we haven't watched a minute of film on LSU, and you can practically, and he goes 71. And, I mean, I know I'm Captain Obvious with this, but if that's not where – that has nothing to do with offense, so don't throw Coach Malzahn under the bus and say that we're running plays too quick and throwing our defense back out there. No, it's the first play of the ball game. You have those, and we're talking whiffing from the secondary. And, I mean, whiffing by 3 or 4 yards. It was hard to watch. Let's go back to the phone line. Scott, you're on Sportscall.
Hey, guys. Hey, how are y'all doing this evening?
Do you have something positive, Scott?
It depends, really, what you consider positive. I will say, to address the question of the day, I think I hadn't really heard a lot of the calls. I heard a few, but I think I may be one of the few who actually think, I'm not necessarily on the Sean White train as of yet. I think maybe the timing was a little off. I probably would have maybe tried to wait until maybe the bye week or something like that, because I wouldn't want to throw a freshman out there in an SEC West matchup regardless of the competition. So that throws me off a little bit. I think it was more of a pressure move, and that lets you know that there's some other things going on the plains that makes him a little nervous. So it reeks of desperation. I don't think that it was necessary this early to necessarily go ahead and go with Jeremy Johnson, or with Sean White. But there's just so many things that are going on that are deeper than what you're just seeing the score. I mean, Gus, it appears now, I mean, he's been this way, but he's so stubborn, and I think he wants to prove that he can run the style of offense that he ran at Tulsa with Auburn. I think he saw Jeremy Johnson as an opportunity to do so. But again, I preached last season, even when we had our struggles, if Jeremy Johnson was as good, and I'll say this, I preached all summer long that I thought Jeremy Johnson was a potential Heisman candidate. But if he was as good as he should have been, and as he has been touted by the coaching staff, then he should have been able to do more than what he's been able to do. I mean, it also appears, I think Gus, truthfully, and people may not want to hear this, I'm still on the Gus Malzahn train, but I think he really may be more suited as a coordinator. I think he lacks some things as a head coach that you need. I don't think that players necessarily want to run through a wall for him or that type of thing. I think you see the offense and how stylish he can be, and so you're going to play for Gus for those reasons, not necessarily because he inspires you as a player. But defensively, I'm not going to throw Muschamp under the bus per se, because when you lose somebody as impactful as Carl Lawson, you're exactly in the same position you were in last season. The defensive line has no defensive ends really out there. You're playing with 4 tackles, so you can't generate any pass rush, which then makes your secondary look every bit of worse as it did Saturday. And when you have people like Ford and Trey Matthews coming out and saying things already before the game, that adds things to it. So again, I just don't. There's just a lot of things you could cover really. I don't think Deshaun White is the answer. I think he's going to. I'm not going to say struggle, but I could easily see a scenario where he doesn't finish the half. I think this could be a disaster Saturday. I would personally rather see somebody like Jason Smith get an opportunity to play and maybe go back to kind of what we're used to seeing, and maybe have Kerryon Johnson continue to be more involved in the offense, maybe being that Caleb type figure, have Melvin Ray as somebody else's possession receiver, and then Duke possibly being that deep threat. So I think schematically what Gus wants to do, running the offense fast and that type of thing, the success of this offense is predicated on going fast, but if you aren't getting first downs, there's no way for you to be effective. So there's just a lot of things going on, but I do think Auburn hangs on to win Saturday. I think that hopefully Jeremy and the offense, or Sean and the offense, whoever it may end up being in the second half, I think can produce points, but it's going to be a tough environment even at home. I'm just a little concerned that everybody jumped the gun a little bit too early, and maybe you should have waited till San Jose State, and then you ease them into the bye week, and then when conference play really begins, then you make some moves there.
Scott, we appreciate the phone call. I don't agree. I appreciate it, but I think after a while you've got to go with the players. You got to know that there's a whole locker room full of guys that are looking at somebody to lead them, and when that guy that's leading them looks like a deer in the headlights and looks a little off kilter, you have no confidence. If you read into Gus's press conference today, did you listen in, Andy?
I haven't yet.
Jason Smith was mentioned, and he was mentioned as he's been getting some snaps at quarterback. The question brought up was, Jonathan Wallace, your backup, will he possibly see some snaps? He said yes, but Jason Smith also potentially in there. So I think that, when you're trying to put yourself behind the doors and see what the coaches are talking about, maybe he's an option out there, Andy. And he's a Nick Marshall type. He's got all of those same type of attributes when you look back through it that Nick Marshall has.
Up against the break here, but don't go anywhere. We're taking your phone calls, 1-888-9-TIGER-9 toll-free, locally at 334-887-3401. Trivia question still out there. When's the last time Auburn and Alabama lost their conference opener in the same season? Give us a call. More Sports Call presented by Home Place Mortgage right after this. Welcome back to Sports Call on this Tuesday afternoon. Andy and Randy here with you for a few more segments. Taking your phone calls at 1-888-9-TIGER-9 toll free or locally at 334-887-3401 on the Auburn Opelika Tourism Hotline. Bart Eddings, former Auburn player, will join us at 5:30. We'll catch up with him. Always really enjoy catching up with former players, see how they are. Of course, the Eddings family, certainly a legacy at Auburn. Bart didn't quite have the career that his older brother did, but certainly he was quite a character during his time at Auburn. Looking forward to having him on the show at 5:30.
888-9-TIGER-9, 334-887-3401, and brought up a couple of names that we saw briefly on Saturday, but the brief glimpses I saw of Kerryon Johnson makes me want to see more, Andy.
It does. He looked like he had a very quick first step. I mean, he caught the ball well out of the backfield. It's just, I mean, this offense has so many weapons. That's what I think one of the more frustrating things about all this is. You see a Duke Williams over there. I know. I watched him. He's not, forgotten how to play. I mean, Jason Smith, you can tell that touchdown pass against Louisville. I mean, he's obviously got some speed. He's got some ability. Melvin Ray is who he is. We've seen him. He's definitely a very good receiver. But, Auburn's got some pretty good tailbacks as well. From what I understand, Javon Robinson tweaked his ankle again against LSU. So, he's a guy that can't seem to stay on the field. I don't know what he's got. He didn't break away from anybody in the 2 carries that he got Saturday. But Peyton Barber is what he is. He's not going to burn you with any kind of speed, but he is a very tough guy. He is a very, very good, running back. He's serviceable. Rock Thomas, I still don't know. Here 3 games into the season what he is. But like you said, Kerryon Johnson, I think he's done enough to earn more and more playing time.
What in the world is up with Duke Williams? We see glimpses of him at the end of the ball game, really in mop-up duty, and a touchdown catch there late on a not-so-good-looking pass as Jeremy rolls out the pocket to the right. But your thoughts? It's got to be tough on him, honestly. You hope that you hold your composure and know that your time's coming, but 3 games in to see what you've seen from Duke's a little shocking. About like DeMarco Murray when you're watching the Eagles right now.
I don't know what to make of Duke. I know he must be extremely frustrated, and I think that's pretty easy to see, and that's pretty easy to understand. Here's a guy that could have gone to the NFL last year. He could be in the NFL right now. He comes back, and we hear about attitude problems. We hear about him being having impulse control issues and all these different things. And then Damian Craig comes out and says, he's a great guy. He'd never had any problems with the coaches, never said one word. And, so I don't know what to believe in that situation. I know he's extremely talented. I know that he can get open, and I know we're not getting him the ball. Maybe we're trying to force it to him at times. I think there is something to James, his rants over the last, several weeks about the lack of pass routes. And, everybody knows on 3rd and 5 we're going to run the slant to Duke Williams. And I don't want to get him killed. And I know, in the back of his mind, he's got to be thinking, I don't want what happened last year to happen again. I need to stay healthy. Maybe I can salvage some kind of draft stock as the season goes along. But I don't know. It's just frustrating. It's just frustrating, I think, all the way across the board.
Let's go back to the phone lines. Russell, you're on Sports Call.
Hey, guys, War Eagle.
War Eagle to you, Russell.
Hey, what's really frustrating is to sit and watch this game on CBS, and you got Vern and Gary up there talking and pointing things out and asking questions that I'm sitting there asking myself, like, why is Auburn not running the ball more with their quarterback? We've been asking that since the Louisville game. I've seen Jeremy Johnson carry the ball one time in that game. He scored a touchdown going away. Of course, it was on the 1-yard line. But still, I don't understand. That's what I get frustrated about is our identity for the last 2 years has been run that read option and keep it with the quarterback to keep the defense honest. It opens up the whole passing game, running game, everything you got going. You just let the quarterback keep – okay, so he doesn't make a first down. Who cares? It still keeps the defense honest. That's what I get frustrated about. And not only that, but guys, but think about this. Gus Malzahn is supposedly the creator or one of the creators and innovators of what? The Wildcat. How many times have we seen the Wildcat this year? I'm going to let you guys answer that question. Y'all have a good evening.
That'd be 0 from what I – now, Jason Smith, will we see it with Sean White? I don't know. Hopefully we probably will. To be honest, Gus Malzahn throughout – he's been in college football since 2006, and his offenses have always been productive. No matter if he's got a thrower, Chris Todd, the kid from Tulsa, the kid from Arkansas State, or if he's got a dynamic runner. However, his offenses have been really successful when he's had a runner. When he's had Cam Newton, when he's had Nick Marshall. It may be time to look in the mirror and say that's our best effort. Now, I think Gus fell victim to what most all of us did. We looked at it and said, Jeremy Johnson's an absolute specimen at quarterback. We see he's got the physical tools. He's the best quarterback out there. Let's bring him in. He can be something. I can work with him. And it just hadn't worked out. I think that's just the simple answer. It has not worked out. To Scott's point, something happened in that second half against LSU. He started to run the ball a little bit more. We started at least getting some kind of semblance of an offense again. We scored 21 points. Now, granted, I mean, it was in mop-up time, but again, can we build on that? Some people might have thought, well, you give Jeremy, one more week doing this kind of stuff, running him more, now that we know that he can take a tackle or whatever, and we try to run this offense, but that's not the decision. That's not the route that we went with. So right now, Sean White's the man.
888-9-TIGER-9, 334-887-3401. Also find us on Twitter, Sportscall AU. You can throw your prediction in there and throw any questions or any guests that you'd like for us to reach out to, as we'll have one coming up next, Andy.
Yeah, hopefully when we come back, we'll be joined by former Auburn offensive lineman Bart Eddings. Of course, his brother Brett played at Auburn, and his father as well. We're looking forward to catching up with him. Be sure to join us on the other side of this break. More Sports Call presented by Lee Marketing Group right after this.
Auburn Links at exit 51 features Bermuda grass greens and rolling fairways along Parkerson's Mill Creek. By taking advantage of the natural beauty already in place, Auburn Links has a scenic yet fair layout for every golfer. Golf Digest presented Auburn Links with the 4-star award, and Links Magazine once ranked the course 3rd best among public courses in the Southeast region. It's one of the best golfing values in the South. Visit their website for more information at auburnlinks.com. For tee times, call 887-5151.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sports Call on this Tuesday afternoon. Andy Graham here for another couple of segments, taking your phone calls at 1-888-9-TIGER-9 toll-free or locally at 334-887-3401. We'll take up your phone call, or we'll pick up your phone calls in the final segment of today's show. But right now we want to go to the AO Tourism Hotline and welcome in former Auburn Tiger Bart Eddings. Bart, we really appreciate you taking some time to join us today.
Oh, guys, thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Well, just kind of, if you wouldn't mind, bring us up to date about your life since you left Auburn. Of course, you played from 2006 to 2010, but just kind of bring us up to date about what you're doing now.
Well, down in Mobile, Alabama, really, the real world is a lot different than college football. It has some similarities. Sometimes it'll hit you in the mouth when you least expect it. But down here in Mobile, Alabama, selling commercial insurance, and just celebrated my son's first birthday on August 22nd. So we are just practically living the dream down here, loving it.
Well, congratulations on that. Certainly, the Eddings family, certainly kind of a legacy at Auburn. How are Brett and your father, the Eddings family?
Yeah, they are good. They are good. Dad's being dad and selling real estate in Montgomery, and Brett's in Auburn, and excited to head up to the game here real soon. So it's definitely one of those things to where I've always enjoyed hearing different stories. Sometimes they're different versions, but different stories of just past playing experiences with a lot of their ex-teammates, and it's something really special to kind of share that common bond with your brother and your father.
Well, your career at Auburn spanned, like I said, from 2006. I believe you redshirted that year, but a part of that,
yes, sir,
2010 national championship team. It went through a lot of turmoil, of course, coaching change in 2008, but be able to rise to that level in 2010. Just talk a little bit about that, about your time at Auburn, and maybe overcoming the challenges of having to go through a coaching change.
Well, it's one of those things, and Coach Malzahn preached this the first day he was here, is he told us, he said, guys, I promise you, we will be successful. But there's a few key points that y'all need to do in order for that to happen. He goes, one, you need to work your tail off. He goes, we will be more physical than anybody else that we play. He goes, but most importantly, you guys are going to have to buy into this. And we're going to have to, we're just going to have to be all in and sell out every single practice, every single rep, every single game. And, it's funny that the more you do that in practice, it's not just going through the motions. It becomes what you do in everyday life and workouts and school and everything else. And so they Coach Malzahn definitely brought in a mindset to the Auburn offensive program, and it's something else in 2010 when you buy in and you believe in each other, and you get back to back and fight for each other and fight for Auburn. It's definitely something. It's a winning combination.
Well, Bart, unfortunately, your career probably didn't go exactly the way you wanted it to. You dealt with so many injuries. It seemed like one after another, and you look at a guy like Carl Lawson now at Auburn, a guy that's got so much talent, so much ability, but just cannot seem to stay on the field. It seems like it's one injury after another. How do you deal with something like that in your college career?
Well, the good thing for Carl Lawson is he is a heck of a lot more of a better athlete than I ever was. So he's got that going for him. but it's pretty much twofold if you think about it. One, you just have to believe that God's taking you on this right path and the Lord works in mysterious ways, and you just got to follow that. But secondly, we've got some of the best medical trainers down there that are taking care of him. You got Dr. Andrews that comes down, so he's in good hands, and they're taking care of him. The coaching staff, to the equipment people, to the medical staff, everybody's taking care of him, and they're doing the right thing. It's just one of those things to where, and I learned it. It's a lot better to be smart than dumb tough. So, if it takes you staying out 2 more weeks instead of trying to come back and push it, then long term, it's a lot better choice.
Well, Bart, there's one question I always thought about. I remember you when you were recruited to Auburn. I believe by some services you were a five-star defensive lineman, but of course you end up transitioning to offensive line when you get to Auburn. What went into that? What went into that decision to switch positions?
It was a group effort. I had I think my 3rd knee surgery at that point in time when they switched me over 2nd or 3rd. They all kind of run together. But it was a group effort between Coach Dunn and Coach Price and Coach Null. And they said, Bart, we're thinking about moving you to offensive line. What's your thoughts? And it was plain and simple for me. If this helps the team, I'm in. And they said, all right, well, we're moving you to offensive line. I said, yes, sir. And Coach Null handed me the playbook, and I walked out of his office. So it was it's not as dramatic as some people will like to think or imagine, but it was definitely it was definitely the right choice, because after that I got to meet Jeff Grimes and work with Coach Malzahn, and that was truly a blessing.
Well, having played in that Malzahn offense, when you look at this 2015 team, obviously not the start that Auburn wanted. They are going to make a quarterback change this weekend. Sean White has been announced as the starter Saturday. What do you see as the problems that are part of this 2015 team, and are they fixable?
Well, if you really think about it, even when we won our national championship year, you're going to have in a football season, you're going to have some bumps in the road. It's how you respond to those bumps in the road. And I think the coaching staff is definitely going to correct that. And I think they're going to be just fine. It's one of those things to where you never really know what's going to happen. Sometimes the offense does horrible and the defense picks it up. Sometimes the defense does horrible and the offense picks it up. Sometimes the defense and offense are okay, but just dominates. It's a 4-quarter game. You've got a bunch of games in the season. I'm just glad we're doing this now and not at the end, because there's definitely little things that we can fix. And I'm excited to see Sean White get out there and sling the ball. I've heard a lot of great things, but practice and SEC play are completely different. But if the coaches have confidence in them and are going to put them out there, then I've got confidence in them, and I'm excited to see the kid play.
How does a QB change like this in the middle of the season? Certainly in 2008, Auburn changed quarterbacks a couple of times, but how does this affect the team? I mean, do guys talk about it? Is there just overall, how does it affect the team?
Well, I mean, every team's different. Also, there were years where you would talk about stuff, and then there were years where it's just like getting an offensive lineman moved or getting a receiver change. So it's really depends on the attitude and the mindset of the team. If they've got faith in Sean White and they feel good about him, then that's that. It really depends on the team's mindset and how they respond to sudden changes. And, like I said before, if Malzahn says, hey, this guy can play and we're going to put him in against the SEC team instead of letting Jeremy Johnson play against the SEC team and then putting him in, either in the off week or against San Jose State, then that says volumes for Sean. So, it's one of those things that the coaches have confidence in them and the players need to have confidence in them, and that they just need to go out and play Auburn football.
Well, Bart, we certainly appreciate you taking some time for us today. We certainly wish you the best. Congratulations on your family, and wish you nothing but continued success.
Yes, sir. Thank you. War Eagle.
War Eagle to you. That's Bart Eddings, former Auburn Tiger. Certainly thanking him for being on Sports Call this afternoon. Up against a break here, but don't go anywhere. More Sports Call presented by Lee Marketing Group right after this. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the final segment of the Tuesday Sports Call. Andy Graham, now joined by Scott Hardy to close out the program, as he so often does. Give us a call, 1-888-9-TIGER-9, toll-free, locally at 334-887-3401 on the Auburn Opelika Tourism Hotline. Still got a trivia question out there. When was the last time Auburn and Alabama lost their conference opener in the same season? Nobody brave enough to answer that question yet. Scott, let's go to the AO Tourism Hotline.
Andy, thanks for joining Sports Call.
How y'all doing, guys?
Doing great. How about you?
Well, I'm going to tell you what, I was doing better on Friday when I picked Auburn to wake up out of this slump, and Jamie Johnson kind of crawl out of that hole and gain a little confidence. But, look, I've heard a lot of people talk, and with Sean White being announced as a quarterback today, a lot of people forget. You know, a few years back, you had Spurrier coaching at Florida. You had a quarterback down there by the name of Terry Dean that was probably at that time one of the more accurate passer ratings in the SEC, probably one of the better quarterbacks that the SEC had seen. And he had a ball game where he basically had 3 errant throws, and of course Spurrier is known to pull the trigger quick. And until that time, guys, nobody had ever seen a guy named Danny Werfel. And I don't think Terry Dean ever saw foot on the field again, even in my book view, that particular year. So, you know, White's coming in. I mean, if Malzahn's got confidence to put him out there against an SEC opponent, I was listening to Bart just then. He's exactly right. These guys have got confidence in him, but more than that, it's time for a change. I mean, I don't know if there's a mental block right there from a confidence standpoint and whatnot with Johnson, but if you watch him, he appears to be a baseball player that has got it in his head that he's trying to aim the ball to first base and keeps making errant throws. And but you know, anybody that watched that ball game the other night, we've got far bigger problems than just quarterback. I mean, we were beat on the offensive line, we were beat on the defensive line, and when you're facing, I would say I'm 37 years old, and I believe Fournette's probably the best quarterback. I mean, the best running back that I've seen in my era, maybe Adrian Peterson. But he's got those type characteristics and traits. And I get frustrated at times when I watch our defense and our cornerbacks playing 15 yards off the line of scrimmage, and the announcers are saying they're trying to help out with the run. Guys, a lot of time a ball carrier around the end is 9 yards before we even engage. And we've just got this defense has probably been, you know, your offense is going to have bumps and bruises and things like that when you get a new quarterback from a starting standpoint, and the offense trying to establish chemistry and gel and things like that. But the defensive effort that we've had, you know, the one play I think the announcers mentioned it, when you got Rudy Ford just basically trotting. I mean, a jog at best to try to get across the field to stop Fournette, and then just put his arms out. Fournette runs right by him. The effort, I guess, is what bothers me, and not having that attacking defense, because I think from a recruiting standpoint, we need to focus on getting some of these top-rated linebackers in. I don't remember guys from a linebacking position having an impact on the game since Antarius and Travis Williams, and they were two of the more undersized linebackers, but they were passionate about it, and they attacked at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage. But we've got issues. There's no doubt whatsoever. But I do think that Sean White's an underestimated quarterback. You know, when he was a 3-star and went and won the Elite 11 quarterback competition, I think a lot of people didn't know who Sean White was then. And Auburn coaches did good about getting him on our radar and recruiting the kid at that point. But you know, I guess I don't know. It may do Jeremy some good to sit on the sidelines and see somebody else have an opportunity and have some success possibly. And then maybe if Jeremy's name's called, maybe he comes in with fresh legs and an open spirit, just like he did against Arkansas last year, and maybe it'll alleviate some of the pressure on him. But, you know, for Auburn fans to give up on this team's crazy. I've always told everybody I'd rather be an Auburn fan than lose, be an Alabama fan and win. So I'm going to stick behind my team, and I think they'll be fine. They got some, like I said, got some serious issues to work through, but I think this quarterback change is a step in the right direction. But anyway, great show, guys. Hang up here what you have to say.
Thank you so much for the call, Andy. Great name, by the way. But, I don't disagree. I think he pretty much summed it up pretty well. We got problems. I mean, obviously on defense, they got problems.
Well, and I agree. I mean, and, we've been going back and forth during the break and kind of a little bit on the call. Defensively, I will agree, the personnel probably isn't conducive to what Muschamp needs out there to be successful, or any defensive coordinator for that matter. But there's not even going beyond scheme. Tackling has been an issue for 10 years on the Plains, and that's something that I don't know if that's players or coaches or I don't know who you fault at that spot. But to talk about the Jeremy Johnson, Sean White scenario real quickly, the same things that are happening now, granted, Nick never looked this bad throwing the ball. I will say that. But when people were calling for Nick to come in or for Jeremy to come in with him, it's the same scenario as this. I don't think that you change so quickly. I mean, obviously 4 games in is not quickly, but
it's pretty quick.
It is. I mean, I guess it is considering the
Relatively
preseason expectations that were placed on Jeremy and the offense. But I think the offensive personnel is exactly I think it's set up perfectly. But I don't think that the way that we're running the offense is going to ever be successful unless we speed it up more. And if you're not getting first downs, as I said, you can't speed it up. So again, I think that Sean White, I'm not really sure you can say he's underrated or anything like that. We haven't seen the same things that people were saying why Jeremy shouldn't have been a Heisman candidate, or the same things with Sean White. So I'm not going to go out here and say that he's the answer to all of Auburn's problems, because there are some different things that need to be addressed. But offensively, if we can't run the ball, it doesn't matter who is playing quarterback, because this offense will not be able to do anything but sputter as it has been if we can't run the ball.
Sean White is not starting Saturday because he's all of a sudden a great, this great quarterback we've been hiding. He's starting because we don't think it can get a lot worse. And so if Sean White throws the ball backwards 20 yards and falls on it, what have we lost? Nothing. If he throws it directly to the opposition 6 times, or make that about 8 times, 3 of them haven't been intercepted. But, what have we lost? We've lost nothing. Just throw it to the right guy at the right time, and we'll be better. I think that's part of the problem. Now, is Sean White going to be great and successful? I don't know. Will he look worse than Johnson has these first 3 games? I doubt it.
I just don't want us to Kyle Frazier this kid.
I probably wouldn't look worse against
I'm
the competition.
concerned that they're going to Kyle Frazier this kid and go get out there, and it's going to look bad, and that's who we're banking on to take the spot.
And we've talked about this today, and we've kind of danced around it. Nobody really has addressed it. It's a serious thing to bench Jeremy at this point, because what you're saying is we no longer believe in you. And for a kid that has lost his confidence, it pretty much destroys it from here on out. Now, maybe Jeremy Johnson is just better coming off the bench. Maybe this will be a situation where if Sean White, you throw him out there for a half or for a game, or maybe let's just say he gets hurt. That's another question. We don't know how tough he is. I know he's 6 foot, 200 pounds, and I know that, I've seen him throw on film, but I don't know what he's like. The man's never played a college football game. So he may get out there. Are we going to run him? What if he can't take a hit? What if he gets hurt? What if he knocks his shoulder, out of joint on the first play? Well, Jeremy's got him to trot right back out there. Maybe he's better off the bench. I don't know. Maybe, I'm at this point, I'm willing to try anything because we have no chance. And I don't want to put too much pressure on this game, but this is Auburn's season.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
If Auburn loses to Mississippi State,
it's 4-8.
It's 4-8. You're exactly right. It's 4-8. So if we win this game, 8 games is a possibility. That's reality. And we'd be probably fortunate to win 8. But, it depends on how much better we could get. But I think it's time. I don't think Gus really had a choice to make this. I think after seeing Jeremy, again, that last throw of the first half, right to the LSU defender, when another guy on down the field, I think Duke Williams, breaking wide open, you just could not let it develop. He just cannot. He's got tunnel vision. He cannot see the field. Maybe Sean White can a little better. We'll find out.
Stay calm,
Saturday.
Auburn fans.
Calm the masses.
Stay calm.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Sports Call back on the air tomorrow. For Randy Lee and Scott Hardy, I'm Andy Graham saying so long for now. We'll talk again soon.